Hey PPG family, welcome back to another deck profile. My name is Dane, Dane Reich, as you can see on that. You can catch me at twitch.tv/Dane Reich. And today we're going over my Pasadena 5th place performance from this last weekend for the CoreTCG Regional. I went X1 in Swiss, so 7-1. We'll go over matchups and stuff towards the end, but I kind of just want to get straight into the deck profile. It is golden with some twists this time around. I've been playing Golden for a very long time, literally the inventor of Mono Yellow Golden, but this is now a new era, so we have constant adjustments to be making. So here we are, we're just going to go straight into it. I think by now we know the leader, right? You have to kill your Frieza's army cards to draw, restand. Probably could be on the ban list in some way, probably doesn't necessarily need to be because it's usually not like the best deck in the format, but it does be doing blue things in yellow. That's gross. For life, flip over, draw 2. Backside, draw a card on swing, and the same ability to kill, draw, and restand 2 this time. So we'll go right into some of these ratios. We switched up our 1-drops, normally the 4-for-4 package. Now we've got 4 Ginyus and 1 Togema. I switched over to 1 Togema because I liked that Ginyu was golden. There's no further reason for that. It's just the shinier one. They do the same thing. And then I actually play 3 Sorbet Commander of Frieza's Army Forces. This is from the same deck as for these guys, right? Is going to be that Lifelet Frieza. But on play, it searches the top 5 for a yellow Frieza's Army, 5 or less, or a 2-cost Unison. Plenty of targets in the deck here to look at. It's really great that with Frieza's Call, basically, even if you don't have like 2 sets of these, 1 Frieza Call, you could Frieza Call into Sorbet, and Sorbet can find the other pieces, right? Can find other 1-drops, which means that you have a little bit more flexibility in your mulligan. You can just go, all right, well, I'll keep a Frieza's Call, and then Frieza's Call will get Sorbet, which will find another 1-drop, right? He's also a Sorbet, which is going to come up for this card right here, the Free Play Togema. Basically, if you have a Frieza or a Togema in play, you can go ahead and play it for free from your hand. Very important for dodging counterplays and for setting up for bigger Awaken turns. Basically, it's the same concept as using Malicious to play a Riposte, except now you take the -1 to hand size, right? Same deal. And you maybe miss out on an attack, but in exchange, you get to keep all 4 Ripostes, which is way, way good. So this is just kind of that basic package here. It's still 12 total 1-drops, and then the 1 extra Togema that I've realized I just think I like too much. It was in my original list in like 2021, but since then, counterplays have become less readily available. We have our Self-Awakeners. We are playing 2 Malicious Streak and 3 Roshi. This is a little bit different. We used to be on the 1 Streak 3 Roshi, but honestly, I just think that there's a lot of times where you just need the 1 life, and being able to use Malicious Streak for both your value and for the Self-Awaken is very important. Roshi can obviously pick up more life, and therefore is more valuable in matchups where you're getting hard stalled, but most decks have to hit you at least once. Even these decks that, like, don't want to attack will still do so to set up their current Z Battle card or Z Extra or what have you, right? The Gojitas of the world, the Android 21s of the world, they're going to sit and chill for a while, but eventually they have to hit you once just so they can build that 1Z energy, because you don't have to attack them at all. Very simple stuff. We play 4 Robotic Riposte. This shocks exactly no one. I love this art. He puts his whole back into it. I just picked up a pack of the gold winner ones, but not the finalists. They're like the regular gold stamp of the darker art. Might play that time next time. Who knows? The cornerstone of my deck is going to be 4 of the Frieza and Goku Spirit Clash. This card is super crazy. Basically, if it's in your Z energy, you can pay 2, choose your leader or really any Frieza's army or Saiyan on your board, send that card to your Z energy, and then play this card. If you choose your leader, you don't have to play anything because it can't go to your Z energy. When it's played, draw 1 and then KO something ignoring barrier. The removal in this version of the deck is significantly higher, right? I am basically spitting this out every single turn, which obviously nets you a little bit less energy overall, but your hand size remains bigger, you're drawing through more of your deck, and you're removing more threats. Because not only is it a removal piece, but it's also a 20k swing into something. The only kind of counterplays that really hit this are going to be the occasional, like, oh my gosh, I mean, realistically, it'd have to be just like Kusu, right? Like, that's like literally it. Kusu and like Zamasu would tap it. Like, it's going to happen. Like, it's going to hit, right? Excellent choice. Also a Frieza's Army. You also have this activate main for 1. You can remove it, or not for 1. Activate main, you can remove it if you have 3 or more energy to play a 2-cost Goku or Frieza from your hand or drop. One thing you can do at the end of the game that I think I did it like once or twice this weekend, is like if you have 2 or 3 life, but you know you're going for game here and that extra 5k might matter, you can play Malicious Streak and then pop the Malicious Streak instead to pick up that life. Maybe get a little more damage, maybe play a Riposte in your hand if you're just trying to get out more attacks. Could be very useful. Or, right, if you're playing against yellow, you do that, play the Malicious Streak, swing with something else, and then tap the Malicious Streak for cost, then kill it. Could be very useful like that. We have 3 Goku Jr. Newest in the lineage. Card is just kind of crazy, right? Pay 2, draw a card, go off. You just deflect 25k. Very huge stat line, very important because against red, right, they do a lot of -20s. They have to put a little bit more effort into killing it. Likewise, it has the activate main once per turn to play a 1 cost from your hand. So basically every single turn, you're just going to go, all right, I'll do this, play, draw, and then you can kill this, right? So the turn Goku Jr. comes down if you're awakened, it comes down for 0 energy and a +1 to your total hand size because he replaces himself, this replaces itself, and then you draw a card, right? So it is an additional +1 to your total hand size by playing this on an awakened turn. If it lives, this card is unfair and super ridiculous because then you get to take a whole turn, free play this, draw that card, right? So it's still going to net you the same amount as Higher Dragon, but you don't have like a weak little Unison. You're keeping it on like a 25k body instead. Very, very nice. Super strong card. Great addition to the deck. I played 3 Sins. In previous formats, I probably only would have played 2, but I knew that we'd be playing quite a bit of red this weekend, right? I figured Pan would be the most popular deck in the room, if not like top 2-ish, top 3. And it seemed to be about the 2nd or 3rd most popular after Gohan. So, Sin was an excellent choice at 3, right? Card is super ridiculous into red. It's okay into some of the other colors. It's pretty good against yellow and stuff. But you just get lots of value to negate skills. It's on extremely early in Golden Frieza specifically because, you know, you go through Call, that goes through 2 more cards. You might have a Z energy by this point. Very fast, super strong card. I'm sure if you don't already have it, you're going to get it at Nats when it gets reprinted. We played 2 Goku Universe at Stake. I think this card is super ridiculous for a lot of reasons, but mainly it's that the ability to tap your opponent's energy on command is extremely powerful. In addition, you're basically spending 1 energy for a single, like a 30k single attack that either kills something or taps an energy or taps a card. I mean, that's just insane, right? Like, pay 1 30k is about as high value as you can get in terms of an energy to power commitment. I played 2 solely because I liked the ability to charge 1 at the beginning of the game. I was previously done like 1 and then 1 boo maybe, but if you see them at the beginning of the game and you want to be able to charge them so you can still play it later, important. Or, you know, combo it off. Next format, in the red format, the 30k is going to be huge because this is going to be a great card that you can just put over in your Z energy to let you swing with your 25s or 24s, things like that. This lets you do it. We played the 1 cooler. In other formats, it goes up to 2. Second one's in the side, but this event, 1 just feels right now for the most part. This is just the way that we do it. We played the 1/1 Overrealms of Secret ID and Heated Fighting Spirit. Not a whole lot of explanation here. You just kind of need it for additional removal, pressure. You fill your drop area very quickly. So basically every single game this weekend, I played both cards, just resolving, just to go, yep, kill something, swing 25, or kill something, swing 30. Vegeta's very nice that it also kills like tall active mode stuff. That's a very weird trait that occasionally could come up if you're playing, since you're just yellow. If they leave stuff in active mode, sometimes you have a hard time removing it. I played a 2-2 split of Shisumi and Krillin. Krillin is kind of the obvious choice. We already know what that's all about. Shisumi is literally just because it is a searchable Frieza's Army card. Towards the end of the game, you're going to have times where you're playing Sorbet and you want to go into Shisumi. This deck has less Unisons and less extra cards than previous builds, so being able to find your super combos for more reliable pieces is important. I used the 0-10k once this weekend. Someone was going to double crit me, or double strike me from 5 to 3, and all I did was just give them this to get out. Right? It was just like literally a 15k double, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do this. Like, I'll take like that -1, so to say, in order to make sure that I don't go to 3. So super strong. Also, next set, again, very relevant. These are 10k combos, or Vegeta's a 5k. This is a 15. So next set, it's going to be over in your Z energy. It'll allow you to attack with a riposte into red while getting rid of this. Very, very good. Very, very strong. My small little Unison package is a 1 of Trunks and 2 of Vegeta Unison of Fury. Vegeta happens to be searchable by Sorbet. It's a really good card in the matchups that it's good in. It's just okay if it's not, right? It can still tap energy and stuff, but really it's just like, it just auto wins certain matchups if you see it. Trunks is the big MVP. He is just crazy. He just keeps attacking. He's a type of pressure that most decks can't floodgate in a realistic way. Right, so if you think about like the blues and the yellows of the world, their floodgates just don't work against this card. Against Bursting Rage, that was a big deciding factor, is that against Bursting Rage, Gohan Unison can't really attack, right? Like you commit a Gohan and then you minus a minus, and then they go, yeah, Bursting Rage, they Z Awaken, now you can't attack with your Gohan for the rest of the turn. You can't attack with your big boss monsters, right? Sin is the biggest card you can attack with, but Goku Juniors are offline, and the Universe at Stakes are offline. Your Overwhelms are offline. All of those attacks are offline, but this guy's not. 20k duel, especially good against things like Cooler and Blue, so just pretty important to make sure that you play it. I mained 3 Nimbuses because everybody and their mother has counterplays and is prepared with Koitsukais and things of that sort, so more floodgates the better, I guess. Nimbus is super strong. I think there's an argument to be made of playing like 2-1 with a Forbidden Power. Who knows? We have 2 Time Magics. I've moved away from token negates just because everyone seems to be able to deal with them, and Time Magic has been seemingly more useful. I think there's a world where I do like a 2-1 or a 1-1. Like I was on 1-1 for a long time, but this weekend I just wanted to try the 2 Time Magics. Because again, another situation where if I'm looking at my opening hand and I charge a Time Magic, I want to make sure that there's still a Time Magic in my deck for when they do finally play their big boss monster that's like dual doubler, right? And I just go, no. Especially good against Pan. Just keep that 40k down. We are not dealing with that card. We played 2 Final Flashes. Was at 1. Again, just upped it. We have Gogeta super relevant in the format. We have things like the yellow Frieza. If I was to ever play a mirror match, I just want to make sure that I have removal for it. Android 21 is not especially a problem because of the Trunks, but if I had to play Trunks earlier to try to apply pressure, I want to make sure that I do have access to it, right? There's going to be other situations, right? It's a nice thing that you can charge it and then still have that extra card off and then, you know, do it. Because one issue was that if you charged your 1 of Final Flash, generally people went, okay, well, people are only playing 1 right now, and then they knew that battle cards were generally going to be more safe. They didn't know for sure, but it was definitely in their mind that it was less likely that you had it. The 1 of Cold Bloodlust, it's Cold Bloodlust. Negate skills, just ridiculous card. 1 T-Blow, pretty good card. You know, I sided it out a lot this weekend, but it's really just like the matchups where you just don't need it. But that's few and far between. Just about every matchup you're going to need 2 of these kinds of cards in your deck to prevent little stuff, to prevent Z-stacks, to prevent floodgates. It's just important. The 1 of Pos, I think that's obvious, right? I mean, it's power for Super Saiyan. It's good when it's good. I actually sided out of it like twice, just because people play a card, attack, play a card, attack. That's just not, you know, the style these days is not to build your board. And I have enough removal in this deck that people didn't like stick around, so you didn't get a ton of value out of it unless you were like trying to tap stuff. But it's also very good against the 1-drops that Silver Bullet you, because you just like swing with something, power of a Super Saiyan, tap it, and then onslaught into it. Last card, Bursting Rage. I moved off a Cooler for this weekend. It was a decision based off of some preliminary testings and a ruling that I found out. I just think the card is really good. It floodgates, it draws, it's very versatile. That's something that I really value in it. Golden Cooler has uses in like 1.5 matchups, maybe a total of 2, right? I think it's imperative to win 21, right? It makes that matchup a lot easier, but then like it's only really ever going to be played against Gogeta or Gohan if you're like way behind. The rest of the time, Bursting Rage is just good into every single deck all the time. Card is super crazy, right? So draw, it's got a floodgate. We've got the Z lead, so we'll go ahead and just jump straight into our Z deck for that. But let's talk about the Z Leader. So the Z Leader is just a 20k golden Frieza. Not that super big of a deal. But realistically, it's just that when it enters plays, it draws, and at the end of the turn, your opponent's turn, it removes itself. So let's say you have to do Bursting Rage defensively, falls off, and then you're still golden when you come back to your turn. That's just honestly super huge. You get to literally draw 2 and gain 20k. People cannot afford to just like negate your leader swing every single turn, right? That's like part of the reason why green Goku is so good, is because every single turn you just do that. Except in my case, I'm representing it at all times. I'm not just representing it when my opponent, or when it's like I have 2 green up and I have already done my big play. This is just at any point I can just go, whoops, 40k, draw 2, play this, right? Very important. The other big combo with it is that this card right here, Goku and Frieza Spirit Clash, removes your Z Leader. So this is useful in that it will refresh your lead skill. Basically, you go Bursting Rage, so you swing, draw a card. Okay, let's do this. You have a Riposte or something else out, you kill it, draw, restand 2. Swing lead, draw. Bursting Rage, draw. Z lead comes in, draw. You can combo this off, or it's already over here. Then, after that attack is done, you can go ahead and pay 2 to remove this, because it does let you can remove your own Z leads, you just can't remove your opponent's. So, this comes down for 2, you draw again, kill something. This now refreshes your leader skill, so after you've attacked with this, you can go ahead and kill this, draw, and get that 2 energy back. Again, super ridiculous.
That's that
you go crazy. You literally draw like 6 cards in one turn with Bursting Rage. It's super stupid. It's just unreal. I cannot believe that this is how that works. I mean, I can believe how it works because I realized it and confirmed with a judge. But that's Golden Frieza. So it's something new to try out. Still going to be a personal preference for which secret rare you prefer, but I just love the card. I think it's becoming quickly a mainstay of the meta. We have a pretty standard yellow package for the rest of the Z deck. Goku is great for control and aggro matchups, right? In control matchups, you prevent big attacks for the following turn. In aggro matchups, you prevent leader swings, and then you floodgate them out through the rest. Likewise, it can also tap stuff. It's a 25k attacker itself. Very huge. Vegeta is imperative for the end of the game. Also, random little barrier threats if your opponent plays something that's in active mode. Hard part is, no deflect. 3 cost is kind of a tough one to hit, right? Super Kamehameha, Tyrannical Blow, Absolute Release Ball, these things all hit it, so you have to be careful about it. It definitely won my match against Gohan in round 3. As I KO'd something, I gained critical. He's out of cards in hand, and I went 20 crit, and then whatever else went through is no problem. Oolong is a huge dude. Gamma is kind of for the blue matchups, but I think it's time I would just play a second Oolong. He still has moments, right? If I was to play against, like, Expert Deck 21, it might have been good. But realistically, just having a second Oolong, so that way if Oolong gets counterplayed or he gets removed via battle, like especially in the green matchup, if they have the green Kamehameha, it kills it. Vegeta Surmounting, Self-Awaken, and then the one of Kaioken Kamehameha, right? It's a card on your board, so you can tap it for the yellow stuff. It's just good as a yellow 10k, and then you can also just pay the 1 to get a Final Flash type effect. So, super good card. Very simple Z deck. Only change I would make is that I'd probably just play 2 Oolongs. Boop, boop, boop. Moving on to the sideboard. This is where, I don't know, things are kind of standard, but it's mostly just because my build is different that it's a little bit weird. But I played 1 Gohan Unison, pulled in basically for any matchup where I know that Unisons are going to be key to pushing, right? I think about Cooler, I think about Gogeta, and I think about Android 21. Those types of decks will not have any sort of floodgates for your Unisons, and then in some of those longer matchups, you can just play this for 3 to just draw a card every turn, right? And then it's a 20k. It is a blocker, which is relevant into things like Gogeta, right? You can represent the fact that you can counter, or if you get countered, you can then block. So that's very nice. Likewise, you have 1 additional Trunks, again, for matchups where you just need more Cooler, more Unison aggression. Basically, Cooler. It's a second copy, so that way if you play into 21, you can play the first one before they've secured their secret rare. No problem. Still keep clearing their board, swing 20 duel, and then when it comes down again, you just play the second one and then immediately remove it. We played 2 Mutaidos. Kind of wish this was at 3. It's for Green Gohan, and I guess, like, Red Vegito, since C-Rod did great. Congratulations to him and how he did. But realistically, Mutaido is totally just for making sure that you don't get blown out by Green Gohan, right? You do it on turn 1, they are set behind, like, a turn and a half. And then if you do it on their big 8-drop, instead of discarding a card and losing a thing, you go ahead and say, or, you know, dealing with the attack, then you can go, yeah, I'm just going to Mutaido it, place it and drop, tap it, and then it can't be restood. Very important, I did it to a cooler, green cooler. It tapped it, ignoring barrier, and then it can't be restood. So even if they played out, he like committed to the Broly, and then it was like, yeah, but Mutaido says you can't restand. So that was important. 2, Gohan, Trusted Ally. Hand control hate. Deck draws a bunch of cards, so you don't need it that much, but it is still very useful, especially during those like push turns if you happen to be pushing through like a King Cold or a full power counter. Just very nice to use that as a push. We played 1 Trunks the Cunning just for 21, and you know, you just probably pull it in versus the mono blue decks just in case they're on Goku. You just play it once, floodgate effect for the untapping for the rest of the game. Kind of broken. Cards that say for the game shouldn't exist. They simply shouldn't. Frieza 5-drop is good for blue, and I think that's really it. And even then, against, you know, some blue, you can't really afford to play it that often because pay 5 is still a tall ask. Card is still crazy. Card is ridiculous. Important combo to note is that, like, on turn 5, you needed setup before to be able to play it, but now you can just go, okay, well, let's play Frieza 5, and then we'll play Togama. Wherever the hell the free Togama is. He's in here somewhere, but play Togama, and then kill the Togama and get 2 back while keeping this out. Additional cooler, self-explanatory, blue. Occasionally you pull it in for the yellow. Like, if it's a control yellow deck, you pull it in. We play 2 Koitsukais. I actually pulled it in for Pan the second time around. But primarily it is almost explicitly for cooler, right? You really just, that's a hard matchup. You draw so many cards. They draw a lot. They've got Bursting Rage to deal with a Gohan if you commit too early. Koitsukai is just too imperative in that matchup not to play it. 2 Black Smokes, kind of just a catch-all, right? If you know your opponent's going to be on Unisons, if you think they're going to have troublesome cards, you can pull it in like yellow mirrors. If I was playing a golden mirror, I'd pull it in just to make sure Sin gets kind of dealt with. Card is super strong. It's probably getting errated to a black, so sorry. 1 of Jiren, I think we kind of all know its purpose at this point, is for Android 17, which just needs to get banned. I'm tired of including this card in my sideboard. Please ban that card. And Mirror Creator Absorb. This was like a last-minute inclusion for Gohan. The idea behind it is that if they try to floodgate me, what happens is that I'm able to push a little bit, right? Like my universe at stakes get huge. I could Bursting Rage, deal the damage that way. But what happens is that at the end of that turn where I'm pushing, I've really exhausted my resources in hand. So even if I can keep attacking, my numbers are going to be smaller. So what I ended up doing was going, okay, well, I mean, if my numbers are too small, then I'll just like pay 1, and it doesn't matter if they're at 1 life and Mira swings. That's going through, right? Like, I could be at 0 cards. Mira could be the absolute last card. I put 1 card over here, and that's it. Likewise, we all know that Mira plus Oolong is busted. But that was the theory. I didn't need it for the first Gohan I played, and then I didn't get a chance to play it in the second one because I died too quick. So, it's still a theory, but we'll keep testing it out and seeing if it works. So that is the main deck profile. Just real quick to recap some of my matches. Round 1, I played against Fu. Honestly, it was just Vegeta, Unison, and Fury did all the work for me. I didn't even have to really think about it. I literally just was able to protect it with Riposte on turn 2, and then from that point forward, he was literally unable to attack. Young kid, pretty good for his age. We had round 2 is Prismatic Bardock, generally a pretty favored matchup. Yellow Sin sure does just basically read that they are not allowed to play their Z battle card, and then they have to start paying high costs. At the end of the game, he knew he was desperate. He tapped 5 for Gogeta, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I got Cold Bloodlust, so you can't really get hit by that big guy. It's a super favorite matchup. We went into let's see, round 3 was a green Gohan. Extremely close, but I had the Mutaidos for the 8 cost. I missed the Mutaidos at the beginning of the game, but I had him in the middle and end game, which was important because he was on Cell Xeno. So I Nimbused him through his leader, and then he played an 8-drop. I Mutaido'd it, and then he played Cell Xeno afterwards, and I Mutaido'd that as well. So I was at 2 life, and he had no more double strikes. He just passed with like 2 cards in hand, and they were both floodgates, and it was like, because he tried to dump and like it didn't work on his last card, and I was like, all right, well, here comes my dual attack critical Vegeta, and I can't help but notice that you are out of cards, and that was the end of the game. Easy peasy from there. Round 4 was Esteban Perez, who also got top cut. Congratulations to him. With Green Gohan. Lost that one, unfortunately. I just can't win these dice rolls against the Gohan players, man. I lost both of them. But even without that, I had a feeling that he was going to play for the triple strike win condition. I was right, but I had Bursting Rage in my hand. So I thought, okay, well, even if he goes pretty big here, I've got 2 super combos, a Bursting Rage, a Final Flash. I think I can get there. Turns out he had basically all of his super combos and a Cells. The Cells Kamehameha just ripped Mira. It wasn't really that big of a deal or anything like that. But in the 5 cards that I drew that turn with the double Bursting Rage draw, my Tagoma super combo, and a Krillin super combo, I drew 4 dead cards. I lost by 10k in that immediate attack, so that was unfortunate. But it's one of those things where maybe if I just negate that attack, then maybe I win the war because he's not on the Unison build, and I think that's a much harder matchup for me to deal with. Round 5 is Android 21. Another hard matchup. Another lost dice roll. He saw Boo right on 4, but I think I just kind of grinded the game out. He didn't see as many D-Magics as I would have expected. I think he charged one early, and then he used one, and then he never saw a 3rd or 4th copy, which I think definitely was bad at the end of the game. For when I had a situation where I was like cooler and I had Goku Universe at stake out. It was just too much for him to deal with. Round 6 was finally like my break in the day was a Shroom Salsa, set 12. It's a fine anti-meta deck, but man, Golden Frieza sure does beat the crap out of it. I used Trunks Unison to just push face the whole time. Eventually he tried to stabilize with like Bardock Tenacious, and I'm like, well, that's another Unison, so I swung with both Tenacious attacks, and then I played another one, and it just ended the game. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Then in round 7 was Pan. Excellent player. We got really close with being in time. He was definitely taking a little longer on some of the decisions, and I felt bad, like, having to push the way that I did, being like, dude, I need you to make decisions. But, like, the game was definitely going to be in my favor. If there was, 5 more minutes, I was killing him that turn. But I couldn't commit to singular battle cards to be like, here, force this damage through, because he had the Z Extra out. And the Z Extra is a 40k swing in power. So even though I had 2 Final Flash and, like, a Universe at stake, I literally can't just, like, swing with whatever and do it, because I don't know that he's going to get out of whatever single attack. I just have to go wide. Round 8 is unfortunately the team kill, Seraphim. Sorry, bestie. At that point, I just won a long game. I could not even resolve Bursting Rage because I was going to deck out. 3 times this weekend I got to the point of I will deck out if I play the turn how I want to. That's a good thing. I mean, it's a bad thing because it means I had to play different. It's a good thing because it means that my deck goes crazy on draws. So overall, excellent finish, right? 7-1. I went 9 for 9 on regional tops this year. I just really want the win. Really want that first place. It's really frustrating. But overall, just shout outs to, so we'll start with the easy one, PPG FOE. That's the team, right? We've got some ideas brewing for this at all times. But likewise, we also do have some other stuff going on. I have to thank the Arizona crew for letting us stay in their Airbnb. Chase, who was basically our Uber this whole weekend. His friends Kit and Kelvin were super nice. We had some great opportunities. Petrillo in chat just said, my bad. This is the one time I'm going to break that 4th wall. It is your bad. Your fault. Can't believe you. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a good one. Like, subscribe, do all the things that you need to. There's like a Patreon or something. They'll probably put it down in the link below. And go subscribe over at twitch.tv/Dane Reich. Thanks so much.